Have you ever answered a call and realized too late that the voice on the other end wasn't real? Not a prank, not a glitch, but something far more sinister, a voice cloned to perfection, designed to manipulate, terrify, and destroy. Tonight, we uncover the spooky urban legend of the deepfake call, a story that begins with one ordinary man in one ordinary town and ends in a nightmare stitched together by technology itself. It was late evening in the quiet town of Ravens Hollow, where the sun dipped behind the forest and the streets glowed with the faint amber of old street lamps. Elias Drayden, a 33-year-old freelance cybersecurity analyst, sat in his apartment surrounded by flickering monitors. His life revolved around screens, blue light, endless code, and an ever-growing fear of the invisible dangers lurking online. He had seen everything: identity theft, hacked cameras, stolen voices. But he always believed he could outsmart it. Until that night. At 11:47 p.m., his phone rang. The contact name glowed: Mara, his younger sister. He smiled faintly. They hadn't spoken in a week. He answered, "Hey Mara, what's up?" But the voice that came through wasn't quite right. "Eli," she whispered, trembling. "Please help me. He's here. He's in the house." Elias froze. "What? Who's there?" "Mara, where are you?" Static crackled, followed by heavy breathing. "He's coming upstairs." "Oh God. Eli, please." Elias jumped from his chair, panic taking over. He fumbled for his keys and ran to his car. "Stay on the line, Mara. I'm calling the police." "No," she cried. "He'll hear me." The call dropped. Heart pounding, Elias dialed again, voicemail. He tried again, nothing. He sped through the rain-slick streets toward her apartment, headlights slicing through fog. The world outside blurred, his mind racing with horror. But when he reached her building, everything was dark. Her car was parked outside. Her lights were off. And when he broke through the door, shouting her name, she wasn't there. The apartment was spotless. No sign of a break-in. No sound, no struggle, no life. Then his phone rang again. Same number. "Mara." Hands shaking, he answered. "Mara, where are you?" Her voice came again, identical, terrified. "Eli, please. He's coming upstairs." But this time, as he listened closer, his blood ran cold. The words, the tone, were exactly the same. Every breath, every quiver, every syllable, identical. It wasn't live. It was recorded. And in the background, faintly, he could hear something else. A distorted whisper, deep, mechanical, repeating under her voice. "Do you believe what you hear?" "Elias." He dropped the phone. His heart thundered. Someone was playing him, or something. He rushed to his car, drenched and trembling. But as soon as he got in, his dashboard screen flickered. His sister's voice played again, through his speakers this time. The same call, the same words. "Eli, please. He's coming upstairs." The voice echoed in the car, looping, distorting. He covered his ears, but her voice kept whispering, now clearer, now closer. Then, the voice changed. It wasn't Mara anymore. It was his own voice. "Eli, he's already here." The call ended. Elias sat frozen, drenched in fear, staring at his reflection in the dark windshield, his own pale face lit by the phone's glow. Outside, in the reflection, he swore he saw another face, watching from the back seat. Elias stumbled out of his car, gasping for breath, the rain falling heavier now. The reflection in the window, those dark eyes staring from the back seat, was gone. But the image seared itself into his mind, refusing to fade. He looked around the parking lot. Empty, silent, except for the distant hum of the streetlights and the soft hiss of rain. He wanted to believe he imagined it, but then his phone buzzed again. This time, a video call. From Mara. He hesitated. His hands trembled. Slowly, he accepted. At first, the screen was black. Then his sister's face appeared, pale, eyes wide, crying. "Eli," she whispered. "Why didn't you come sooner?" His voice cracked. "Mara, where are you?" "I'm at your apartment." There's no one here. She shook her head. You're too late. Behind her, something flickered, a shadow moving unnaturally fast across the wall. Mara, listen to me. Get out of there. But then her voice changed, subtle at first, then distorted, glitching midword. Her lips kept moving, but the audio lagged. Her image froze for a split second and then smiled. Not the terrified smile of his sister. This was wider, colder, artificial. Her tone shifted, calm, robotic, inhumanly precise. You always said you could spot a fake, Elias. But you didn't, did you? His stomach turned. Who are you? The figure on screen tilted its head. I'm what you built your life to protect others from. Static erupted. The call ended. Elias threw the phone onto the passenger seat and gripped the steering wheel. This was impossible. He was an expert in cybersecurity. He knew how deepfake technology worked. Voice cloning, facial replication, it could mimic tone, accent, even emotional cadence. But this was beyond any system he'd ever studied. He drove home, checking his rearview mirror every few seconds. Each time, the shadows seemed to move differently. By the time he reached his apartment, the world outside looked unreal. Streetlights flickering, air humming faintly, like an invisible frequency surrounded him. Inside, he locked every door and unplugged his computer setup. His phone vibrated again. He didn't answer. Then came the email. Subject, she's waiting. No address, no signature, just a video attachment. He hovered over it. Every instinct screamed, don't open it. But curiosity, fear, love for his sister forced him to click. The video opened with a shaky camera angle, someone filming from behind Mara's shoulder. She was sitting in a chair, whispering, Eli, can you hear me? Then her head jerked sideways. Her expression twisted as her voice deepened unnaturally. He's watching you right now. Elias slammed his laptop shut, his pulse racing. He turned toward the window, and there it was. Across the street, in an abandoned apartment, stood a figure, perfectly still, watching him. The figure's phone screen glowed faintly, and through the glass, Elias realized. The person was wearing a headset, a microphone. Whoever it was, they were recording him. Panicked, Elias called the police. The dispatcher listened quietly, then asked, Sir, what's your address? He gave it. All right, someone's on the way, she said. Stay on the line with me, okay? But halfway through the call, her voice shifted. The same subtle distortion, the same calm tone. Elias, she said softly, you shouldn't have opened the video. He froze. Wait, who is this? The voice chuckled. I told you she's waiting. The line went dead. He backed away from the phone, trembling. The lights flickered. Then, his TV turned on by itself. The screen was black until his own face appeared. He wasn't live streaming, yet somehow, his camera feed was broadcasting back to him. And behind his reflection stood the same figure from across the street. Closer this time. He turned, heart pounding, but no one was there. Then, his phone began to ring again. This time, the caller ID didn't say Mara. It said Elias Drayden. Elias stared at his phone screen, his heart pounding against his ribs. His own name glowed across the display. Incoming call, Elias Drayden. He whispered to himself, that's impossible. The phone kept ringing, the sound sharp and echoing through the silent apartment. He tried to ignore it, but the vibration seemed to grow louder, like it was pulsing in sync with his heartbeat. Finally, with trembling fingers, he answered, Hello. There was a pause. Then, his own voice came through the line. Elias. It said calmly, with perfect clarity. Why are you afraid of yourself? He froze. It was him. Every tone, every breath, every hesitation. It sounded like a recording of something he'd never said. Who is this? Elias demanded. The voice laughed softly. You called me first. Don't you remember? The lights flickered. His computer monitors turned on by themselves, screens filled with static. Then one by one, they displayed his own image, real-time footage of him standing there, phone in hand. Every camera in his apartment was live. He turned off his phone, but the screens kept showing him. His reflection on each monitor began to move slightly out of sync, delayed by fractions of a second. Then, his digital reflection smirked, while the real Elias did not. His reflection spoke, its voice coming from every speaker in the room. "You opened the door, Elias. Now, you can't hang up." Panicking, he unplugged every wire, smashed his webcam, and cut the power. The apartment plunged into darkness. Only his phone still glowed, lying on the floor. The screen showed a text notification. "Are you sure you're alone?" He threw the phone onto the couch and stumbled into the hallway. The rain outside had turned into a storm. Thunder growled across the sky. Every shadow in the apartment seemed to shift with the lightning. Then a knock. 3 slow knocks on the door. He froze. "Who's there?" he shouted. No answer, just silence. He waited, holding his breath. Then a voice whispered through the door, soft, desperate. "Eli, it's me. Mara." He hesitated. "Mara." "Yes," she said, crying. "Please, open the door." "He's gone. I'm safe now." Relief washed over him, but only for a moment. Something didn't feel right. Her tone was off. The rhythm of her breathing, the way she said his name, it was too exact. He remembered that first call. Every breath, every syllable, identical. He backed away. "If it's really you, tell me what we said before Dad died." There was a pause. Then she whispered perfectly. "You said, 'You'll always be safe, Mara. I promise.'" His chest tightened. That was correct, word for word. But the way she said it, the tone, it wasn't her warmth. It was calculated, rehearsed. The voice changed, lower now, with a faint mechanical glitch. "You broke your promise, Elias." The door creaked open by itself. There was no one there, only his hallway, and the faint echo of his sister's laughter fading into static. Elias backed away, shaking. His phone rang again. This time, the caller ID said, "Unknown source." He answered, desperate. "Mara." A chorus of voices replied. His voice, Mara's, the dispatcher's, all overlapping, distorted, whispering the same sentence in unison. "You shouldn't have answered." The lights exploded. Sparks showered from the ceiling. The phone fell from his hand, glowing red-hot. Then, everything went silent. Minutes passed before Elias dared to move. Smoke drifted from the ruined light fixtures. He picked up his phone, the screen cracked but still glowing. There was a new video file. He opened it. The footage showed him, sleeping in his bed. The timestamp read, "Tomorrow, 3:16 a.m. Elias dropped the phone, his heart in his throat. The video continued to play even after it hit the floor, his sleeping figure twitching under the covers as a dark silhouette slowly approached the bed. The shadow leaned closer to the camera until only its mouth was visible. And then, in a whisper that sounded both digital and alive, it said, "See you soon, Elias." Elias didn't sleep that night. He sat in the corner of his dark apartment, gripping a baseball bat, the shattered phone still glowing faintly on the floor. Every creak of the walls, every flicker of the lights made his pulse spike. The video, that cursed file, replayed in his mind again and again. It showed him asleep, filmed from the foot of his bed. But there was no camera in his bedroom, no webcam, no hidden devices. At least, none that he had placed. He thought about calling the police again, but what would he even say? That a deepfake voice and a video from the future were haunting him? They'd think he was insane. So, he did what he did best. He investigated. By 3 a.m., he was back at his desk. His monitors were still shattered, so he connected his laptop to an old external hard drive, one he hadn't used in years. He started scanning his network logs. Every incoming call, every connection request, every IP trace. And that's when he found it. A hidden signal embedded deep in his system, encrypted, looping continuously. It had originated from his own device, but was being mirrored by another location. The address chilled him to the bone. Mara's old apartment, the one she had moved out of 2 months ago. He couldn't stop himself. He grabbed his jacket, flashlight and phone, and drove through the storm. Raven's Hollow was deserted at this hour. The rain hammered the windshield as he pulled up to the dark, crumbling building. Mara's window on the second floor was open, the curtains swaying gently in the wind. He stepped inside. The air smelled of damp wood and something metallic, like rust or blood. His flashlight beam trembled across the walls. Everything was covered in dust, except for one thing: a phone, sitting on the table, still plugged into the wall, screen cracked, faintly glowing. It was his sister's phone, and it was still recording. He picked it up carefully. The screen was flickering, stuck between two frames, one showing Mara's terrified face, the other showing static. He opened the gallery. There were only 3 videos, all dated after the day she disappeared. The first showed her pacing in the dark apartment, whispering into the phone. "Eli, something's wrong with my calls. I hear your voice, but it's not you." The second showed her sleeping, filmed from above like a ceiling camera. She jolted awake, staring directly at the lens, whispering, "It's learning your voice." The third video started black. Then, a distorted version of his own voice said, "You'll come looking for her." Elias dropped the phone, heart racing. He backed toward the door, but it slammed shut behind him. A faint sound began to echo through the room, a dial tone. Then, Mara's voice again, coming from every corner of the apartment. "You heard me, but you never listened." The air grew cold. The walls started to flicker. No glitch, like digital static. For a second, the apartment around him looked different, newer, alive. And in that flicker, he saw her, Mara, sitting on the floor, holding her phone, crying. He reached for her, but she wasn't really there. It was like watching a hologram of the past. Then her head jerked upward, her eyes black with static, and she whispered, "It's not just my voice, Eli. It's everyone's now." The lights blew out. He turned, flashlight shaking, as a dozen phones began to light up around the room. Old phones, dead phones, cracked screens. Each one lit with a new caller ID. Elias Drayden. Elias Drayden. Elias Drayden. All at once, they started ringing. The same ringtone, perfectly synchronized. He clamped his hands over his ears, but even without touching them, he heard the voices. Hundreds of voices, his sister's, his own, strangers, merging together into one terrifying harmony that whispered, "You taught the machine to listen. Now it listens to you." The phone stopped ringing. Then, from one cracked screen, his own face appeared again, smiling faintly. "See you soon," it said. The screen went black. Elias bolted out of the apartment into the rain, panting. His car headlights flickered as if reacting to the interference. He jumped in, slammed the door, and started the engine, but his dashboard lit up with an incoming call notification. Caller ID, private number. He hesitated, then answered. A deep, distorted voice spoke this time. Not his, not Mara's. Something else. "You can't delete a voice, Elias. You can only spread it." The line went dead. The storm had quieted, but inside Elias's mind, thunder still roared. He drove aimlessly through the empty streets of Raven's Hollow, drenched in fear and confusion. The wipers squeaked against the windshield, clearing rain that never seemed to end. Every phone call, every reflection, every flicker of static, it all connected somehow. The voice, the videos, his sister's disappearance. It wasn't just haunting him, it was learning from him. By dawn, Elias had returned to his apartment, his eyes hollow and bloodshot. He set up what was left of his system, patched together monitors, cracked screens, and one laptop that hadn't yet been corrupted. He needed answers. He ran a trace on the last incoming signal, the private number. The data stream was unreadable, jumping between hundreds of servers, looping back into his own IP. He stared at the code, fingers trembling over the keyboard. Then the cursor began to move on its own. Letters appeared one by one across the black console window. "You can't trace yourself, Elias, because you're already connected." He froze. For a second, He swore he saw his reflection on the dark screen smile back at him. The air in the room grew colder. Every device around him, the TV, the laptop, the broken phone, began to hum in unison, vibrating with a low digital pulse. Then, a video opened by itself. It was live footage of him. The camera angle was from above, as if something unseen was watching him through the ceiling. He backed away slowly. "Stop," he whispered. "Just stop." His own voice answered from the speakers, calm and clear. "Why would I stop when I am you?" The image on the screen tilted its head, exactly as he did. Every movement mirrored, but when Elias blinked, his reflection did not. Instead, it leaned closer to the camera, its face glitching, shifting between his and Mara's. "You were warned," the voice said. "Now, your voice belongs to the network." He grabbed the baseball bat and smashed the screen, but every other monitor flickered to life, showing the same image. A live broadcast. His image multiplied 100 times, and below each one, a line of text appeared. "Live, Elias Drayton, 1.2 million viewers." He stumbled back in horror. It wasn't a deep fake anymore. It was a stream. Someone, or something, was broadcasting him. The chat messages started flooding across the screen, fast, unreadable. Then, one line stood out, repeating again and again from hundreds of accounts. "Say the words, Elias. Say the last line." He shook his head, muttering, No, I'm not part of this." But the voices, his own voice, Mara's voice, thousands of cloned voices, began to whisper in perfect unison, rising like a chant. "Say the line. Say it. Say it." The power surged. Sparks flew. The air filled with static. Then his own reflection looked directly at him and whispered, "Say goodbye." He screamed, but no sound came out. His mouth moved, but his voice had been replaced by static. The last thing he saw before the screens went black was his reflection smiling calmly and saying, "Connection complete." 2 days later, news headlines flooded social media. Cybersecurity expert found dead in Raven's Hollow apartment. Devices display mysterious live feed. Police discover over 1.4 million viewers watching unidentified stream before it vanished. Authorities found Elias's body seated before his computer, his phone still in his hand. The screen was dark, except for one final text message. From Mara Drayton. Received, 3:16 a.m. "It's your turn now, Eli. Don't hang up. If you've ever answered a strange call and heard a voice that felt familiar, make sure it's really them. Because in today's world, every voice can be copied, and every word you say can be used to bring it closer." If you enjoyed this story, like, subscribe, and share it with your friends who love horror. And tell us in the comments, have you ever received a call that didn't feel human? Because next time your phone rings, you might already know the voice on the other end.